I want to preface this story with the fact that I don't believe a word of it at all. I think that it's completely full of crap. I don't know who wrote it, and I don't know why they would submit such a bold-faced lie, especially with BooTown's ethical rules on storytelling. And actually, the story itself starts off with, I have a lot of good stories from growing up. A lot of them involve avoiding telling the truth to my parents. Yes. And a lot of them involve telling my parents the truth and them not believing me. So this is proof that it's not just me who thinks that this story is bullshit. It's me and Mom and Dad. And the story goes, there was this one time, possibly while I was in 7th grade, when I was walking my dog on a Sunday. I took this shortcut between the neighborhood pool and houses, and I saw a used case of Big Boy Bud Lights, and noticed that a few hadn't been opened. Since this was Sunday, and it was broad daylight, I took the 4 big boys and stashed them in a garden bed in the front of the neighborhood pool. It continues. The following Friday, I remember that I got in some fight with my mom on the way home from school. She couldn't stand having me in the car anymore, so she dropped me off home. I emptied my backpack, walked down the street to the neighborhood pool, and grabbed the Bud Lights. Sunday afternoon, I came home from spending the night at my friend's house, and my parents called me into the kitchen for a talk. As a lot of talks began, my dad told me how my mom was in my closet putting some things away and bumped into my backpack. He said she noticed that it seemed pretty heavy, so she opened it up, obviously, and he wanted to know why I was bringing beer to school. I had totally forgotten about the beer in the backpack at that point, and I laughed and told my parents what had happened. My dad thought it was a great story. My mom got furious. She wanted to know where I got the beer from. You know, what was I doing with this beer? What did my parents, who are definitely not Bud Light drinkers, do? They put the big boys in the pantry and forgot about them. And I took them out of the house sometime in my backpack, not to school. It was only recently that this story was brought up in front of my parents. My mom tried to point out how ridiculous the story was. Obviously, because it is. She had no choice to believe me. Why? I don't know. My dad just laughed, because I guess when your kids lie, it's funny. So now you understand why I think this story is bullshit, right? Let me recap it for you, very briefly. A 7th grade boy or girl, I'm not sure, by the good grace of God, and probably Jesus too, stumbles upon 4 unopened tall boys. This 7th grader takes the beers and puts them aside. 6 days later, comes back, and the beers are still there. Puts the beers in its 7th grade backpack and takes them home. And then forgets about them. Until the 7th grader's parents come and find the beers. And did the parents yell? No. Did they ground the 7th grader or punch them like most parents do? No. They take the beers and put them in the pantry, where the 7th grader can easily take the beers back and put them in its backpack and run out of the house, but not go to school. Victorious for all 7th graders across the world. This 7th grader has 4 tall boys of Bud Light. And and then doesn't drink one fucking beer. Do you think this is a true story?
Yeah!
I don't think so. Thank you.